In recent years, the idealized and romanticized picture of Christopher Columbus has been reconsidered. The evidence for this revised review comes in part from Bartolomé de las Casas, who witnessed the consequences of Columbus's conquest, which he describes in the following passages, first published in 1542.
The Indies were discovered in the year 1492. 49 years have passed since the first settlers penetrated the land, the first being the large and most happy isle called Hispaniola, perhaps the most densely populated place in the world. There must be close to 200 leagues of land on this island, and all the land so far discovered is a beehive of people. It's as though God had crowded into these lands the great majority of mankind. And of all the infinite universe of humanity, these people are the most guileless, the most devoid of wickedness and duplicity, the most obedient and faithful to their native masters and to the Spanish Christians whom they serve. And because they are so weak and complacent, they are less able to endure the heavy labor and soon die of no matter what malady. Yet into this sheepfold, into this land of meek outcasts, there came some Spaniards who immediately behaved like ravening wild beasts, wolves, tigers, or lions that had been starved for many days, killing, terrorizing, afflicting, torturing, and destroying the native peoples, doing all this with the strangest and most varied new methods of cruelty, never seen or heard of before, and to such a degree that this island of Hispaniola, once so populous, having a population that I estimated to be more than 3 millions, has now a population of barely 200 persons. Their reason for killing and destroying such an infinite number of souls is that the Christians have an ultimate aim, which is to acquire gold, and to swell themselves with riches in a very brief time, and thus rise to a high estate disproportionate to their merits. It should be kept in mind that their insatiable greed and ambition, the greatest ever seen in the world, is the cause of their villainies. And also, those lands are so rich and felicitous, the native people so meek and patient, so easy to subject, that our Spaniards have no more consideration for them than beasts. No, for thanks be to God, they have treated some beasts with respect. I should say instead like excrement on the public squares. The Indians began to seek ways to throw the Christians out of their lands. They took up arms, but their weapons were very weak and of little service in offense and still little in defense. The Christians with their horses and swords and pikes began to carry out the massacres and strange cruelties against them. They attacked the towns and spared neither the children, nor the aged, nor the pregnant women, nor women in childbed, not only stabbing them and dismembering them, but cutting them to pieces as if dealing with sheep in the slaughterhouses. They made some low, wide gallows on which the hanged victims' feet almost touched the ground, stringing up their victims in lots of 13, in memory of our Redeemer and his 12 apostles, then set burning wood at their feet and thus burned them alive. When tied to the stake, the cacique Hatue, a very important nobleman, was told by a Franciscan friar about the God of the Christians and of the articles of faith. And he was told what he could do in the brief time that remained to him in order to be saved and to go to heaven. The cacique, who had never heard any of this before and was told he would go to the inferno, where if he did not adopt the Christian faith, he would suffer eternal torment, asked the Franciscan friar if all the Christians all went to heaven. When told that they did, he said he would prefer to go to hell.